everybody, it's Shelley Hoffman and Dick Clarke, and it's Wednesday here in Baldwinsville. How are you doing today, Mayor?
Doing pretty good. I wasn't too happy waking up to see that white stuff out there, but I've lived here for 73 years in central New York, and I know when it's December,
Yes.
we can expect some snow. I think it's going to go depart. It's supposed to be 46, I think, tomorrow. So, but you know what? I'm really excited because last week we had a surprise. We told everybody to come back at 6 o'clock. I don't know if anybody had guessed ahead of time what we were doing, but thanks to you and your savvy camera person who was at the square with us, we were able to pull off the tree lighting. The funny thing that maybe people didn't realize is my wife was using my phone for my part of it, so she could have me, and she was in the background going, "You have 4% left."
I know.
2% left. And I'm thinking, if I was planning on going 7 minutes with this thing, I cut it to 4 minutes because the phone's going to die right in the middle of me going 8. So I don't know if it showed, but I kind of was hurrying. But it worked. I watched it back and I thought, couldn't have done it better if I planned it that way. It worked out. It just worked out nice.
It worked out perfect.
I thought it was great. I heard so many wonderful comments about people who saw that you were live, and just turned it on. Were lucky to catch the tree lighting, and people who saw the tree and just thought it was beautiful. Plus, the whole square is like a winter wonderland down there. It's like a night. If there's still some snow out tonight, that'll be really pretty down there with the white and all the lights. And so it was nice. I mean, instead of 5,000 people, we had about 9 at the lighting, but hopefully a lot of people got to see it. And I know Pack B was there, so they were going to show it on Pack B a few times so people would get to see it. A lot of great comments about the square, a few comments about the tree on the roof. Nice. That looks great. And I have a real good friend of mine, kid I graduated with, lives over on Syracuse Street. And he sent a message yesterday saying that he really appreciated the DPW and all the brush pickup. He said, I think they were out every week once the leaves started to fall. They were every week getting them, and they did a great job. And oh, by the way, thanks for giving my wife an excuse to put up even more Christmas lights this year. So now he's going to blame me. And they live just past Downer Street on the right-hand side going out, and they always have a lot of lights. So if they added more, it'd be pretty spectacular. I mean, their whole house is lit up, and it's really nice. And so it makes me feel good. When I was working as a journalist in the sports department, and then in the working for Neighbors and stuff, my last 5 or 6 years at the paper, people would make a comment, good or bad, about something you wrote, and I'd say, at least you're reading my stuff. So, it's like, can't please everybody every time, and once in a while, you do make a mistake. But it was nice that people must have read in the messenger or seen on here or read on Facebook all the different things about trying to light up the village. I did read a story. I don't know if it was the Washington Post. It was a national story that across the country, people were having their lights up earlier because they wanted to get rid of some of the gloom.
Yeah.
So I've really noticed that around here, that Thanksgiving weekend quite often is the time people put their lights up. But I think most people had them up before Thanksgiving and on. Some people will put them up and then they just don't turn them on. So I hope that people are getting a little bit of a kick out of seeing all the lights. Now, I know there's supposed to be a contest on Pack B, but I went on and I haven't seen any votes. I don't know if they haven't set it up right. I was trying to find where people were voting and so on. So
I'll have to look. I'm not sure. I saw some of the people who had submitted pictures, or Pack B had some of the Christmas lights. I also saw your one of your other sisters. I know we talk about Cindy sometimes, but Wendy had posted Edgewood had some lights on it. And that was nice to see on Facebook too. It is. It gets so dark so early, and it's so gloomy, and the businesses' lights are off, right, in the village. So to see the lights, to see the four corners. But to go back to when you were talking about the tree lighting, what I noticed this year that I'm sure it happens every year, Mayor, but I've never seen it, is families coming dressed with elf hats and reindeer things, and they were going to the tree and taking their family picture.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because they're not going to the malls to sit with Santa. You know, it's a different kind of a year if it's something that happens every year. But it was really neat to see the kids get excited, skip up to the tree, and even the dads were involved with some kind of funky hat and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was neat.
And it's kind of like what we have talked about over the years with our parks, is that you hope it's a free place for people to get their families to do things. Well, the tree is a free place to get that family. You know, maybe they turn around and send them to grandma and grandpa out west, or, you know, aunt and uncle down here, and you can say, here's the family in front of the village tree. And if that's what we do for people, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled, and the kids will never forget it. You know, they'll be 5 years old, and someday they'll be 45 and say, I never forget when mom and dad took us in front of the village tree, and it was so big and beautiful. And, you know, I'll never forget that night. And so hopefully we can make that kind of an impression on a time when people need something to have to say, wow, that was really nice. And now when they go back to their house and say, well, we better stay in for a couple days. They did have something good before something not so good. So,
speaking of something good, Mayor, normally we talk about your attire because I never know what you're going to have on you when you pop into my stream. But what do you have on there today?
This is a Rosie's Rumble sweatshirt that the police department sold at the time when Rosie became an officer. Rosie's a young girl who was fighting cancer and has been undergoing rigorous treatments at the Golisano Hospital, and she goes up there and spends quite a bit of time. And she now has a badge to wear so she can keep things under control in the hospital.
Nice.
And the police department gave her a little police car type of thing so she can be on patrol. She's a very brave young lady who has had numerous sets of treatments now. She just completed one recently. And I just wanted to wear this to remind people to be, you know, have a good thought or a prayer for Rosie with Christmas time. And, you know, hopefully she has a great Christmas. And if she has to have more treatment, at least she's had some fun time. And Rosie's a special lady for our police department. She's their honorary officer. And I think from time to time, a couple of our officers have gone up to the hospital just to drop in and pay her a visit. And, you know, it must be pretty special when somebody sitting there and in walk two police officers in uniform, you know, the guns and the whole thing, and walk up to Rosie and, you know, hug her and high five her, and all the other kids are looking at her. Got to make her feel pretty cool. So this was my way of I try to dress with a purpose on Wednesdays, whether it's Cleveland Browns or whatever it might be. And so this is a shout out to Rosie and for all the people who have paid attention to Rosie's situation, that with the holidays, not forget that, you know, maybe to drop her a card or find a way. I think you can go through Maureen's Hope has done a lot of work with Rosie, so you could find a way to get a card to her, I'm sure. So Merry Christmas, Rosie. To see if I have anything else. You're right. There were a lot of good decorations. One thing, Wendy, my sister, took some pictures, and Jeff Rogers from the Angry Garlic lives in the neighborhood, and he's got a big blow up of Santa sitting in an easy chair, and it's seen one quite like it. It's a great big green easy chair, and Santa's sort of half sitting back in it, and it's a quite big statue. She has a little dog, Dooley, who apparently was quite intimidated by Santa Claus. So she had a picture of him, you know, he was like on point and his tail was straight out and he's just looking. I said, if you let him go, would he have attacked it? And she said, no, he was afraid. He was like nervous when he saw that thing. And so it gets a little bit of attention even from the dogs. But it does look nice when you ride around and you see the decorations. You come down Oswego Street, your house is no longer the house of darkness. It's got lights on. But as you continue down some of the homes on Oswego Street, and I only say, I'm not slighting other people, but that's a street I drive on regularly.
Right.
And there's some spectacular homes coming down before you hit the Four Corners. And so I'm going to get my wife and we'll go out. I don't know if it'll be tonight, maybe Friday night, and just ride around the village. And I did post something on the village Facebook page and ask people to note either their house that they thought was worth seeing or another house that they thought, you got to see this house. So there's quite a few there. So if you go on the village Facebook site and you can write down the addresses, and then when you're out, hit those streets. And I thought a lot of them were putting their own, but then I realized they were in their neighborhoods. So it's working a little bit. I hope people are enjoying it. I hope they get a chance to get out, and the lights on the lake will still be there. They can want to do that too, but I thought this was cheaper, and it's your own neighbors and that type of stuff. I did hear a good thing. I don't know if it's just in Candlewick, but I don't know that it needs to be just in Candlewick. On Christmas Eve at 6 o'clock, they're asking people to come outside the front door and ring a bell for 10 minutes for Christmas Eve. So it'll be interesting to hear, I'm sure not everybody will do it, but if you had even 30% of the people in a development ringing a bell, that'd be quite a sound. Yeah. Particularly for people who have no idea what's going on. So if anybody wants to join in around the village, Christmas Eve at 6, whether you ring, bells that are like on a sleigh, or if you've got an old bell you want to ring, just something to let people know that we're all in this together. And I think it'd be kind of fun. Be a chance to get out and get some fresh air for 10 minutes. And in that vein, while I'm talking about people getting out, can't help but realize that the numbers are up. I mean, we're in a yellow zone. We're dangerously close to an orange zone, and we don't want that, and we really don't want to get into a red zone. No. So just ask people. I mean, we're just starting probably to see the results from Thanksgiving with testing. People who insisted that they could get together safely, and some probably did. If nobody's got the virus and you get together and nobody's going to get it from you because you didn't have it, that's fine. If you're that certain. I know a lot of people who've been tested lately because they were concerned that, that maybe they had been exposed or they were feeling under the weather a little bit. Fortunately, all of them have come back negative, the ones that I know. And I hope more and more people can do that. But just try to remember, you've got Christmas. I know it's going to be hard to maybe not have 30 people together for Christmas like you always do, but maybe it's just one Christmas you'll not have that, and we won't have a whole lot of people sick from it, and we maybe can keep our businesses open. Jump into orange, and I think that takes care of barbershops and hair salons and gyms and all that kind of stuff, which were late getting open to begin with, and I'm guessing are trying to make up for lost time. Yep. So
I was going to say one of our community businesses, Meg, she had offered up, she had an extra room for and maybe like Solvay or somebody that was in the orange, and said if you need a space to do business. I mean, it's just another example of our community trying to help other people. You know what I mean? Like, they obviously had to be tested and clean, and you know what I mean? But just it's hard. It's hard to know what to do, and you have a boundary of people that are in your community that you have no control over, that kind of your fate is a little bit in everybody's hands. So but I did mention to Bob Wicks yesterday, it's a double-edged sword, because you want the businesses to stay open. In order for some to stay open, you kind of they need people to come. So it's doing it safely, it's small amounts, it's, the example I use is, sometimes I look at the amount of cars in a parking lot, or I open the door and I see what's in there, because I do want to support or get takeout or do what we need to do. But if nobody goes, that's just as bad as being told you can't go because they can't stay open.
Yeah, and apparently our community has done pretty good by the local businesses, and the businesses have done a very good job of promoting themselves and making things available and having specials and things like that. So, I hope that we can continue to be that way. But I do hear other areas where, their businesses open up and they get flooded with people and they have to shut down because they can't control the numbers and say, you all got to leave. Well, that doesn't help that business at all.
No, no. It's a balance, like everything in life. It's just a balance. I want to throw out there real quick too, while we were talking about the lights. Ben, who watches with us live a lot, he said that with those addresses, almost like a Google Doc or a map can be made up with those addresses. And I'm not sure if you know how to, but your wife probably does. Can attach that to the village page, and then people can go to your village Facebook page and find almost like a map that they could follow to see the lights too. So that's just an idea that was thrown out there today.
Yeah. Okay. You're freezing up a little bit, so I missed a little bit of that.
Oh, okay.
But a map would be great, and I don't know if there's something that we could post or if somebody else would have the ability to do something like that. But it did seem to be most of the things were in certain neighborhoods were brighter and bigger than others, and it may just be that happen to be the people who were on Facebook at the time are from those neighborhoods, and there's others too. I know that the Candlewick area there's a lot of nice houses decorated up in here, but there's also other areas in the village that are just as nice. So people want to have a nice friendly ride, they can pick up and then finish the night with some takeout from someplace and make a nice night of it. Let me just take a look here and see if there's anything I need to remind people of. Chuck McAuliffe reminds me that they had said last week was the last brush pickup, but they did go out Monday because somebody had seen several piles in a neighborhood and thought, since there was nothing else going on, why don't we go get more brush? So if you want to gamble. But at this point, I mean, you see the snow out there, that's the number one priority. And if you put anything in the road, it's going to end up in your yard when they plow. So you may want to, put it in a bag or a basket or something and put it behind the shed till spring and then bring it out and have them pick it up. Chuck did mention that he has seen a lot of people taking pictures down at the square of the tree, of families, of a lot of nice comments about the way the poles were wrapped. Mm-hmm. Those are new lights that the Public Works picked up this year. There's also going to be some lights on over at Canton Woods. We had some extra sets of lights, and so they wrapped a couple of the big poles out in front. So Canton Woods will be lit up at night. Everything's pretty normal in the courts. The police department, there was something posted the other day of somebody was wanted for theft at Kinney's, and they had a nice picture of the person, and that person was caught.
Oh, good.
Apparently several people knew who it was and called the police, and I checked with Mike, and he said quite often what will happen is we'll get a phone call and the person will say, that was me in the picture, would you take it off?
Oh, wow.
So people aren't seeing me, and I'll turn myself in. I'm getting tired of everybody, everywhere I walk, people go, I saw you, you're going to get arrested. He said they've had pretty good success with Kinney's because Kinney's has a good camera system apparently. And that was a crystal clear picture. I mean, the poor guy, I should say poor guy, but I mean, the guy who thought he was maybe getting away with something, I mean, that picture was right out there for the whole world to see. And he, I'm sure if anybody knew him, it was pretty quick to call the police department and say, Freddie over on whatever street. And so he's in custody. He has been in custody.
Good.
Village Hall's quiet, everything normal down there. Ruth over at Canton Woods tells me that the art group is going to go virtual. They're going to set up a Zoom, and Mike Conway, who's a retired art teacher, will run that class from home. They'll make sure everybody has supplies, and then they can set up at their kitchen table or whatever. And Mike can talk to them about, let's try this effect and let's do this. And so people should check with Mike, those who have been doing it, those who haven't, check with Canton Woods, and they can hook you up. They're going to have an ugly Christmas sweater party at Canton Woods virtually. So you send the pictures in to Joni Fersler, and then I'm guessing she's going to post them on their Facebook page, and people will get to decide who had the ugliest sweater. So contact Canton Woods to find out how to get the pictures to Joan. Bingo's been going pretty good. People have been in, there's only 10 or 12 people can play. It's the limit. And the people who are going are thrilled to be doing it. Again, not a lot of people, but they don't want a lot of people.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Tai Chi still going. Fall prevention still going. A craft supply giveaway coming up in January 25th. Call the center to find out details. But if you're a crafter, you're looking for a particular kind of fabric or buttons, or they may have all those things. I think they like to clean out their storage every so often, and so if you're a crafter, you may be able to pick up a few things. The book club meets on the 15th of December at 2:00. The book is The 7 Days of Us. Our memory lane has been going swimmingly nice. We've been having 8-9 people, and it's been really fun to talk to people about the way things used to be, and how it affects the way they do things today. And we don't just talk old stuff, but old stuff brings you into new stuff, and it's nice for some of the seniors who have maybe haven't been able to talk to many people. Now they get to talk a little bit about their lives, and it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. You may have discovered I'm not really a talker, but
No. I mean, it's pulling teeth every week to get you to talk.
it takes a lot out of me, but they get me to go. Just so you know, several new books coming to Canton Woods. Could be as we speak, early December. So call the center and they'll arrange. They'll meet you in the parking lot. If there's a couple books you'd like to sign out, and they'll come out and put them in your car, just like all the drive-up things that they have over there. And there's a puzzle exchange day on December 7th. They'll organize puzzles by size and have them available to pick up. You can call the center if you want to browse, have some time to browse them. And then they'll take puzzles back. If you've done puzzles and say, I got 4 or 5, I don't know what to do with them, take them to the senior center, and they'll recirculate them to somebody who hasn't done those puzzles. My wife and I whipped off one the other night, about 2 hours. It was, a smaller one, but it's fun. We usually have, we had 2 music shows that I had taped. A Dolly Parton show. They both were on PBS. Dolly Parton and then John Denver concert. So we just had music going, and I tend to sing along, which probably ruins it for my wife. But
Poor Linda.
I can't sing a lick. But it sounds good when you sing with John Denver. It's like the two of you are really knocking it out. But there's a lot of good stuff. PBS has been showing a lot of that kind of stuff because they're not making some of the new stuff. They're people that normally supply them with shows probably are waiting for when it's a healthier time to get together. So they're showing some of the older stuff. And I think later that night they had a Josh Groban concert. So if you're a music person, PBS has had a lot of, WCNY has had a lot of good stuff. And I tape a couple, 3, 4 shows a week. I always tape the travel show on Sunday. And so there's other ways to keep yourself busy. But I hope people think of things to do outside the box a little bit. Again, the Christmas Bureau is more than happy to take donations. I don't know, the other day was like Rotary Kiwanis. It was
Giving
Tuesday.
Day. Yeah, Giving Tuesday.
Yeah, so but you can give any day. You don't have to wait for a special day. And those groups do a lot of good. And they're all going to be short because all their fundraisers did not happen. So if you think of it, and I'm not asking people to give away money that they can't give away. I mean, if you need money for food, don't be thinking about giving to, some group. But, if maybe you weren't going to buy as many Christmas presents for the grandkids this year because you're not going to see them or whatever, there's always a good place for some of that extra money to go. And I'm glad we have a chance to highlight some of that kind of stuff on here. I listened to quite a bit of Bob Wicks yesterday. Going to miss Tony Birkinshaw. I talked to the mayor of North Syracuse about something else, and I told him, I said, you got a good one in Tony.
Yeah.
Tony was very good for us in that he was trying to find ways to do some of their programming in the village. And I had told him Mercer Park is available if you want, and they did a fishing tournament. They tied together, he did the work for having a kayak. It wasn't really a race. It was just they launched at Community Park and went to Mercer Park during the Seneca River days.
Yeah.
Just to attract attention to kayaking. And so he was always thinking along more exposure and what can we do to get more people involved. And I appreciated that he used some of the village resources. And I understand, people got to make moves like that, but we'll miss Tony.
Yeah.
Good man. And other than that, if anybody has questions, they always contact me through Village Hall or on our Facebook page. We are asking our people to be a little more conscientious about, washing their hands and making sure if there's two people who have to be in a truck, we try not to have two people in a truck, but when the snow plowing comes, you have one driver and one that runs the wing. Make sure you're wearing a mask. When you're done, clean down the truck in case somebody else is going to drive it next besides you. Don't all stand in line at the punch out clock, the time clock. Try to every couple minutes. And they had been doing that stuff in the spring. So, fortunately, we've got 3 people plus Chuck that can do a lot of the water department stuff. So we'll probably try to start thinking about rotating them a little bit so they're not all working at the same time. In case one of them does get sick, we don't end up with everybody sick.
Yeah.
It's a little hard with the plow guys. People are trying to get out in the morning to get to work, and we can't say, well, we're running a truck every 3 hours. We'll send somebody out. But we do try to stagger them a little bit coming in, even just a couple minutes, so they're not all showing up at the same time. We hope for the best, do the best we can do, which is basic safety stuff, and hope that it pays off. So
I talked to somebody else about the snow plowing, and really sometimes one man goes down, the whole place goes down. My brother was a prime example. He's a manager of a pizza shop, and he had COVID over Thanksgiving, but the whole pizza shop had it. Somebody came in with it, not knowing they had the symptoms, and he went home, didn't feel well. That gentleman was tested. He was positive. My brother's boss had everybody get tested, and literally the shop's not open because every single person who worked there ended up with COVID. And they're all better now. This was a couple weeks ago or a week ago. So luckily, their symptoms weren't horrible, but you really can take down an entire place if one person comes in. Your wife did want to mention they're down to the last 10 to 12 calendars. So if anybody's interested in the Baldwinsville calendar, they need to reach out and get one.
My neck. I almost forgot. There are some at Canton Woods. If you want to grab a calendar, if you contact Canton Woods, somebody will come out and bring it out to you, and you can give them the $20. But we are down to like a dozen left. And what will happen is somebody will, we're going to get a phone call from somebody panicking that they were planning on giving that to somebody for Christmas and they had just forgotten. So this is a good reminder. Thank you, Shelley, because I would have been deep doo-doo later.
She did message it, so she saved you herself, basically.
Okay, but you remembered to say it. So.
I always enjoy talking with you, and like you said, if anybody has questions, and don't forget to give the addresses of lights. I would hate for a house in a neighborhood to get missed because someone didn't give us the address. I plan on taking a look at the addresses and doing a tour with the kids. I think the village looks great. It's bright. It's
very excited how people responded.
Yep. So I will enjoy your day.
Okay, you too, Shell. Stay off the roof.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.